Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Human Resources in History. This podcast aims to offer insights from 7,000 years of human history to help modern human resource practices. I am your host, Makoto, a data scientist and journalist.
Hello, everyone. I am Jane, your co-host. I am an HR professional and I love history.
Cool, Jin. So this is our 12th episode. And which topic are we going to talk about today?
Yes, so in this episode, we will continue talking about the fascinating topic of China's imperial examination system. Right, so in the past few episodes, we've been talking about this. And our focus was on the skills-based talent management aspect.
Yep.
But in this episode, we are going to shift from that aspect to the candidate experience. Right, so skill to candidate experience.
So people who take the exams.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we are going to see China's imperial examination system from the applicant perspective.
Oh, that sounds very interesting.
Yes, and specifically, we will explore the negative aspects associated with the imperial examination system.
I can imagine that there are a lot of negative aspects.
Yes,
You explained that it was such a hard examination, right?
exactly.
You can take as many times as you want. And
Yeah.
how old was the oldest guy who took the exam? 70 something?
I'm going to tell you about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the point of this episode.
All right. So let's get started.
You know, it's in the last few episodes, we have acknowledged that the system's the great contribution to a strong government throughout Chinese history.
Yeah.
But it's also very important to see the negative consequences of that, right? So because as you said it, the exam was very, very harsh, right? So for example, we are going to talk about the Taiping Rebellion, a civil war led by Hong Sichuan between 1850 and 1864, right? It's almost the final stage of the Qing dynasty.
Yeah.
Do you remember any details about the Taiping Rebellion?
I think I know very superficially. I know that it was a rebel caused by a cult religious group, right? But
Right.
what does it have to do with the examination system?
Sure. So I'm going to talk about how the China's imperial examination system brought a negative consequences, right?
Yeah.
And then the Taiping Rebellion was very important example of that. So let me explain about Hong Sichuan, the guy I've just explained, and the rebellion itself.
Sure.
So Hong Sichuan, born in 1814 in Guangdong province, right? It's the southern part of China. And he was a Hakka Chinese individual who aspired to become a state official.
Hakka is one
Yeah.
of the Chinese ethnic groups.
It's like a tribe, but it's I would say traditional. You know, the Qing dynasty was the main tribe was not Chinese people traditionally, right? Because the Qing dynasty, they came from the northern part of China, right? Yeah, but unlike like Han dynasty or Ming dynasty, you know, these dynasties, the main tribe was actual Chinese people,
Okay.
right? But Qing dynasty, they are like, you know, northern part. So it's like close to Mongol, right? But Hakka Chinese people, they were traditional Chinese people.
And then they are rather from south.
Yeah,
Because I heard that they have something to do with Cantonese.
yeah, it's a Guangdong area. As Guangdong province is near like Hong Kong.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Cantonese.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's Hong Sichuan, right? So as I said, he wanted to become a state official, meaning that he had to go through this very, very challenging imperial examination system.
Yeah.
And so despite facing financial struggles, his family made sacrifices to support his education and preparation for the imperial exam. So, you know, as we talked before, you know, they had to do a lot of investment. You know, it's like today. If
Yeah.
you want to go to a good university, you have to study a lot, and then you need some, you know, certain amount of financial resources, right?
Yeah, I guess, asking for like a private teachers, buying books,
Yes,
and yeah, it costs
exactly.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So his family invested a lot.
Hmm.
However, he failed multiple times. Like in total, 4 times he failed,
Oh, that's so
right?
heartbreaking.
And then after the third time, he experienced a nervous breakdown.
I mean, I can understand, right?
Yeah.
When you fail the same exam many times, I think at some point you started to hate yourself.
But what happened to him is, probably he didn't hate himself. I don't know. He didn't. I couldn't find anything about that. But what happened to him during this challenging period was that he had a series of visions.
Visions.
Yeah, it was like a dream. It was likely influenced by his repeated failures in the imperial exam.
Oh, okay.
So in these visions, possibly in his dreams, right, his heavenly father expressed disappointment in people worshiping demons instead of him.
Oh, he
Right?
saw that in his dream.
Yeah, and then he also, the Hon Sichuan, he also encountered his celestial older brother, right?
Oh,
And he also witnessed Confucius being punished by the celestial father for leading people astray.
okay. So
Right.
his nervous breakdown was a
Yes.
severe one. I think it came to his mental so much because it sounds like, I don't know, some kind of a schizophrenic symptom or some kind of mental problem, right?
Well, he had a nervous breakdown, so
Yeah.
possibly, but
But maybe
also I'm
he
not.
really saw
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vision. Yeah.
I think so because I'm not religious at all,
Yeah.
but maybe religious people who believe in God and maybe they have
Yeah.
this kind of a. I don't know. I don't wanna say anything
Yeah, let's not.
sensitive about it. But yeah, so that's according to historical record. He saw this. He had these visions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then by the way, I said Heavenly Father and a celestial older brother, right? So actually, he didn't know who they were when he had these visions for the first time. But then
Yeah.
several years later, he received a pamphlet in one of the cities in China. So this pamphlet is about Christianity, right? He realized that the visions he had, these Heavenly Father and celestial older brother was a God and Jesus Christ.
Oh, for him, it's like dots connected.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he must have felt that it's such a convincing vision.
Exactly. These visions led Hong to burn all Confucian and Buddhist statues and books and turn to Christianity.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So you know what it means, burning all Confucian and Buddhist statues and books?
Was it even allowed back in China during that time?
I don't know, but I think so. I think it's not a like blasphemy or anything like that. But
Okay.
burning these books means that he gave up on the imperial exam because Confucian was
Okay.
one of the very important subjects.
Oh, yeah.
And so in 1847, right, he began translating the Bible and published the Taiping Bible.
Oh, he translated the Bible by himself. From which language? Do you know?
I don't know. I think English, possibly.
Maybe.
To be honest, I don't know much about that.
Well, it's the fact that he knew some of the foreign languages because he was studying for the exam many years. So.
But I don't know if the imperial exam had a foreign language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this period, like around, the Opium War, that was 1840, right?
Yeah, Qing Dynasty and the British
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Yeah, so possibly English, but it's true that other countries were already like coming to China as well.
Yeah.
I don't know which language.
Okay.
Yeah, so these religious beliefs and his studies ultimately led him to establish the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom.
He built a kingdom.
Exactly. With Nanjing as its capital.
Like, is the kingdom so easy to just establish?
Well, if you call, like, I don't know if you're gonna establish Miyazaki Kingdom, I think you can do that. Yeah.
I will be jailed. Don't drive me to such an act.
I don't know. It really depends on like how you present your kingdom, right? Of course, it's a long way to go if you want to be part of United Nations. But just
Right.
calling,
Okay.
something Miyazaki Kingdom, I think it's
Yeah.
for free. You can do that.
Right.
Yeah. But then, this kingdom becomes really, really big
Wow.
later, right? So this movement, right, not only sought religious conversion, but also became a significant military rebellion against the Qing government.
Yeah, again, like he was talented, because you need to be talented in leading a military group, right? He spent years studying for the exam, although he didn't succeed. So it's I don't think he failed because he was dumb or something. Because if you're dumb, you can't really lead a military group.
Yeah, well, there were some records that he was very, very clever child.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
He had some leadership.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, the conflict that known as Taiping Rebellion, which is from 1850 to 1864, resulted in like huge destruction and loss of life, estimated to be between 20 and 30 million people.
Oh no. Wow.
Right? So yeah, his influence was huge.
That's really bad.
Yeah, there were a lot of articles and that says his motivation for this rebellion came from his failure or negative experience from the imperial exam.
Okay, so that's the insight we want to draw from this historical use case. Like the companies should not make talent selection process too difficult.
Yeah, that's one of the insights that we can draw from here.
Okay.
It's like feelings of rejection or this kind of negative experience can cause extreme consequences.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that every single candidate who had a negative experience will cause this kind of massive negative outcome. But yeah, for sure, it's one thing that we have to be careful about. Being selective, meaning that to exclude people.
Yep.
We saw this, the similar kind of things before in one of the episodes, right? To try to include someone, and then we inevitably exclude people.
Yeah, that was in a French Revolution episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So being exclusive will definitely exclude many people, right? So yeah, but let's get back to the inside part. But the imperial examination system surely promoted meritocracy and expanded the pool of candidates. That's for sure. But yeah, as you said, its selective nature meant that only a few individuals could succeed among the thousands who participated. And earlier you said the exam was very, very tough, right?
Yeah.
So during the time period, I think I mentioned that before, but success to failure ratio in the PALIS exam during the time period.
I remember, 1 to 100 or something.
Exactly. Yeah, in the Tang Dynasty to the highest degree, to get the highest degree of Jinshi, that was 1 to 100.
Yeah.
That was very, high.
That's so harsh.
And in the Ming and Qing dynasties, the ratio in the provincial exam, which is 2 levels before the PALIS exam, already reached 1 to 100.
That's like a first two. It's one of the.
There was like 5 levels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So provincial exam is like, in the middle, and already 1 to 100. And then
Oh
to
my
pass
God.
the jinshi, to gain jinshi degree, you have to pass another very, very selective exam.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
right? And then, as you said, right, there was no age limit for taking the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So candidates could attempt it multiple times.
Yeah.
And yes, there was a record that one candidate passed the exam at the age of 72.
Yeah.
Yes.
72. I remember that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So these figures highlight the reality that many individuals were doomed to dedicate their lives
Yeah.
to repeated failures unless they possess the exceptional talent or luck,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think Hong Shu-chang might have had talent, but he was probably not that lucky.
Yeah, because I don't know, like you need to be lucky, that's for sure.
Yes.
And yeah, 1 to 100, that's
Yeah.
really crazy. Even if you
Yes.
fail, it doesn't always mean that you're bad.
And there were so many people on the borderline.
Oh
So
my
like
God.
even a small mistake, right?
Oh, that's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Right, so let me tell you more concrete cases using modern day parallels,
okay.
which is our blog's main concept, and suggest some solutions. Have you heard about hypo program?
What? Hypo?
Hypo, HIPO program.
No. What's that?
Yeah, so hypo, which stands for high potential.
Okay.
Well, it's nothing difficult. Is a term used by many companies to identify and nurture their future leaders or top talent.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
Right. So probably you can call it in a different way. Some companies may use the word like top talent or potential people or future leaders, whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, these people make the succession, our own succession planning.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, it's important to be aware of the unintended consequences that hyper programs can have, right? Because this is the point. Because hyper programs, basically, it's a selective elite program to become a top management.
Yeah.
Right? And then it can lead to disenchantment among those who are not selected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this can occur when participants in the program receive preferential treatment or special treatment, or when the program appears to be an exclusive elite club for senior management candidates. Right? This disenchantment or dissatisfaction amplify.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to address these concerns, some companies choose to keep their hypo program or identification processes confidential.
That's better, definitely.
Yeah. I think many companies are doing this way.
Yeah.
And also implementing a more agile hypo program can help alleviate these feelings of
Agile.
exclusion.
Okay.
Agile.
Like
Yeah.
what?
So concretely, with an agile approach, the list of candidates is continuously reviewed and updated.
That's much better. Yeah.
Yeah, providing everyone with an opportunity to be part of the program. Right. So even if you are not identified as a hyper program or high potential talent, maybe next year you can be the one. And even if I am that one now, maybe in the next few years I will be like singled out from this program, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, coming back to your first point, to make it secret who the candidates are, I think
Yeah.
it's really effective. Because think about the other case when
Yeah.
those selected people are so visible, like from
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like a name tag, or I don't know, like the elevators that only those people can use in the office. I don't know what kind of example they are, but it kind of demotivates other people.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced this kind of situation before?
I don't think so. It's obviously weird if companies have this kind of policy. I personally, no. Yeah, I think there were hyper programs in the companies that I worked for before, but of course I was not one of them, and I don't know who were in the program. Yeah.
But when in companies that put a lot of efforts or investments in leadership development or future succession planning, you know, they have a very extensive hyper program, right? So even if you hide it, it's kind of inevitable to be noticed. So for example, like one person who are someone who are identified as high potential talent, these people often go to training, for example, and then other people will
Right,
easily
right.
notice, and then also these people have a more visibility or have fancy titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the case where when you get hired by a company, people say, since all the past CEOs were coming from this division, if you are assigned to this division, that means you're one of the, selected people, and that's the shortcut for getting promoted, and it's a elite course basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it's not named as hyper program, but kind of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I get that. Maybe it might be demotivating, but still, for example, like, yeah, let's say in this imaginary company, the people, the top executive, like CEO, only comes from finance, for
Yeah.
example. Yeah, then you will probably not have a chance if you're working in like marketing or supply chain, etc. Right?
Yeah.
But you can still get to the let's say chief human resources officer or chief marketing officer, right? So as far as you can become part of the executive committee, I think, yeah,
Okay.
I think it's fine. But the problem is that if you to become a part of management committee and one level below, if you need to be part of this specific hyper programs, and if you cannot go there without being part of the hyper program, then yeah, it might lead to a huge disenchantment.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So yeah, this is the more internal candidate experience side, but let's talk about external candidate experience, right?
Yeah.
So let me give you some data. According to a survey conducted by Career Arc with 1,200 candidates and HR professionals, 72% of respondents who had a negative experience either share online or directly with someone about their experience. Right? So I don't know, probably you might have some negative experience, candidate experience in the past, and then probably you share that with someone online or I don't know, with your friends.
Yeah, on Glassdoor or.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I didn't do it many times, but sometimes, yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
left some reviews.
So this highlights a significant impact that candidate experience can have on,
Yeah, negative impact
yeah,
on the company's reputation.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And in another survey by Career Arc, it was found that 64% of job seekers stated that a poor candidate experience would make them less likely to purchase goods and services from the particular employer. So this demonstrates the potential consequences that a negative candidate experience can have on a company's reputation and customer base.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So but it makes sense, right?
It really does make sense.
So in today's digital age, the impact of a bad candidate experience can be amplified as candidates have the ability to easily share their experiences on platforms like Glassdoor, which can influence the perception of potential candidates and the overall employer brand.
Yeah. I can relate so much to myself.
Right. How? Tell me about.
I mean, rejections are inevitable, right? Especially when you take a lot of exams, when you try a lot of stuff, trying to get challenging jobs. I got rejected countless times. But with some companies, I had really bad candidate experience. Now I'm used to it. But before, for example, I was so frustrated when I don't hear anything from the companies that I applied. Or sometimes I get reply from a company that I applied 1 year ago. Maybe they're doing some system cleanup, and then they decided to send the system decided to send a rejection email, or I get the rejection message like seconds after my application. That's like the automatic rejection, right? That really frustrates me because I spend time crafting my cover letter, application form. But now I'm used to it.
But it's always painful because you put a lot of efforts on it. Right. So but as you said, it's almost inevitable to have candidates who do not pass the selection process.
Definitely.
But the important thing here is how to reject them, right? So I would like to propose several or two solutions to ensure a positive candidate experience among those who didn't pass.
I want to hear.
So the first one is very obvious, but provide feedback to candidates.
That helps a lot.
It's
easy solution, but that helps a lot.
And it's crucial to offer candidates an understanding of why they were not the right fit for a position. Right. So AI solutions, there are a lot of AI solutions who can help in crafting personalized feedback these days. And even if you don't have access to such tools or enough personnel or resources to provide customized feedback, you can still provide at least inform candidates if they have moved on to the next step or not. Right? So like a ghosting candidates is really hurting candidates' feeling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's obvious, providing feedback, contacting your candidates about the result. It's obvious, but I can't emphasize enough.
I seldom get feedback from the recruiters. Nowadays, the rejection email, I get it a lot, and that's good because now I know that I don't have to wait. And a lot of times it doesn't say the reason; it just says we decided that we don't go to the next step with you. And that's fine. That's fine. If the email says some kind of feedback, that's great. I love it. I would buy the product of that company.
When I hire people, so I interview people, right? Interview candidates. And then I don't know if it's possible or realistic to provide a customized feedback to everyone who applied online. I don't think it's realistic. But at least what I'm trying to do, or every time I do this, after I meet candidates like 5 or 6 for one position, I send an email to all of them and then telling them that okay, we decided not to to move to the next step. If you want to know the reason or you need a feedback, I don't know, I can call you for like 5 minutes. I'm not gonna take you a lot of time, but if you want to know, just let me know. Right?
That's really good.
Yeah,
Right.
and then some people just some candidates didn't get back to me, so probably they are not really, I don't know, interested and or don't want to hear. But I received several reply from them that they want to know, and then I took time, just 5 minutes for each.
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
mean,
then
that saves a lot of heartbroken candidates, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, it's not easy to provide constructive feedback. You need skills for that.
Yeah.
But I believe it's important.
I think also the companies should provide more tailored feedback the more steps the candidates go through.
Yeah.
The later the stage become, I think it's better to provide more feedback if you ever reject.
Totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
Because that means that the candidates spend more time, right?
Yes. So that was the first one.
Okay.
Provide feedback, and second one, right? Aim to meet a realistic number of candidates.
What does it mean?
Just you should not meet people if you cannot provide feedback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because quality should always take precedence over quality.
Yeah.
Sorry, quantity when it comes to candidate selection. So meeting too many candidates can dilute the quality of care and attention you can provide to each individual. Right. And then AI can be utilized to identify the most promising candidates based on the past data. So you can use this kind of AI tools to identify the candidates who has a higher possibility to pass the test. Right. So this is one of the way to meet to have a realistic candidates on your table, right? But yeah, that's at the same time it is true that it's important to discover non-traditional candidates who may possess the potential to excel, even though they don't look like a traditional candidates who pass the selection process. You know what I mean? It's maybe AI didn't identify them as a potential candidate. Right? It's important to meet this kind of people, but always you should keep in mind that you should only meet number of people that you can effectively manage and provide proper attention to.
Okay. To meet, you mean to invite to an interview?
Yes. Well, in any phase, actually. If you cannot even send a rejection email to people who submit their CV, these days you can just use ATS, applicant tracking system, and send an automatic email. So it's fine, but the principle applies to any phase of the selection process.
Okay.
Just have the appropriate numbers of candidates in each phase.
Okay. Like
right.
If you're hiring for only one position, one person, then you should not invite like tens of people to an interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Or I mean, you can do that, but you should never meet candidates, more than you can provide proper attention to.
Yeah,
that's the message.
Okay.
Yes. So this way you can enhance the candidate experience and demonstrate your commitment to treating each individuals with care and respect.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right. So that's these, it's obvious, but these two suggestions that I really want to emphasize.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's I mean, it's really solutions that I can relate myself really a lot because I experienced so many rejections.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I'm curious about the aftermath of Taiping Rebellion.
Sure. This is also interesting part of this story. So after the Taiping army successfully expelled the imperial forces from Nanjing in 1860, right? So basically, they took over Nanjing, their capital.
Right.
Yeah, but they faced challenges in capturing Shanghai, despite multiple attempts.
Okay.
Yeah, so they tried to move to Shanghai, right?
Wow.
Because the Qing army, with the support of European forces, managed to repulse the Taiping army. And as a result, the Qing dynasty finally regained control over most areas that have been under Taiping control. Right? So, like in 1860s, Taiping Heavenly Kingdom kind of lost their presence. And in 1864, tragedy struck as Hon Xiuquan, the leader of the Taiping Rebellion, died of food poisoning caused by consuming wild vegetables.
Okay.
You know, because he didn't actually at this point, Taiping Rebellion's Heavenly Kingdom became so poor, and so was Hon Xiuquan, right? So he didn't have enough money to buy proper food.
Oh, no.
So the wild vegetables were the only available option due to limited food supplies.
Yeah.
Right? And then shortly after his death, the Qing dynasty completely retook Nanjing, right? However, the rebellion had severely weakened the Qing dynasty.
Oh, really?
Right? Because I told you that 20 to 30 million people died.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's devastating.
And then Qing dynasty, although they took over Nanjing, they struggled to regain effective control over the country. And then within less than 50 years, in 1912, which was 7 years after after the government abandoned imperial exam system, the Qing dynasty ultimately came to an end.
Oh.
And which marks a significant turning point in Chinese history.
Wow. Very interesting story. Very interesting. The lesson is that the bad candidate experience can even lead to, the fall of an entire nation. I can think of a lot of similar cases. Like Hitler. Hitler was rejected by art school when he was young.
Twice, right?
Yeah, he wanted to be an artist, and I don't know what happened exactly, but some people say that this drove him to rise to power in Germany. Yeah, also, I don't know, like in South Korea nowadays, the competition is really harsh, right?
Yeah.
Go to good schools and get nice jobs from only a handful of companies. And all the other people need to suffer from low wage, and there's no effective way to come back to a successful path. This is also dangerous.
Yeah.
Accumulates a lot of frustration among the rejected group of people.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So it's very, we have to pay careful attention to those who are not selected or who didn't have a privilege to benefit from the social from the society.
Okay. Well, I think now we are coming to the end of this episode. Today we've learned that the negative aspects of China's imperial examination system, which supported Chinese governments for many years, and it's important to provide good candidate experience and design the process to support it. Yeah, it was a very interesting series about Chinese imperial examination system. Is it the end? Are we continuing more about this?
Well, yeah, I don't mind continuing, but we talked about China's imperial examination system 4 episodes in a row. So next one, it's going to be a little bit different. We are going to talk about not the specific historical event, but we will talk about the skills required for historians. So we're gonna talk about skills again, but this time is more like skills required for historians.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Okay, a different flavor of our podcast. Okay, well then, thank you for listening today, and see you next time.
Thank you everyone for tuning in, and see you next time.